Simmons here. I know it's been a minute since I've been on the pod with TJ and the guys. We kind of are pivoting from the Corn Ferry Tour stuff, and moving forward, I will be doing a lot of live golf. I know that obviously has been a polarizing thing for the golf community as a whole the last couple months. Um, Everyone has their own opinion. For me, again, I don't know. I might get pegged as this live guy. I'm indifferent about it. I think that people are highlighting some of the wrong things. Obviously, I am in the same boat as most people. I want the best players in the world to play golf against each other on a weekly basis, and I think most people do. That being said, I think there's some things that you know I, these guys are golfers. I don't think that. I think the funding, some of that stuff, in my opinion, if Jeff Bezos started a new tour, and you name your billionaire that isn't the Saudis, I still think there would be the same backlash from PGA Tour diehards, from people that don't want to see something split up. Anytime we see any sort of um, disruption in golf, etc., you're going to see, or anything else, not even just golf, you're going to see some some backlash. And I really do not think that. I think there's a double standard with what we're supporting. We get a lot of stuff from the Saudis, gas, oil, you name it. And so I don't see us all driving around electric cars because we, can't support things. So I think that if we think about golf, I think to be honest, I think in the future, I think Liv has done a lot of things right. I think there's a lot of things that are tacky. Greg Norman coming in on a, skyrocketing off a helicopter, skydiving in. It's like, this guy, I'm not a big Greg Norman fan. Sorry to anybody. I think him having a vendetta against the Liv or against the PGA Tour just breeds a rivalry. I think that it kind of makes them not as reputable. But again, I might get canceled for all this, but that's my thoughts on it. And as long as they're still covering, I'm kind of in DB's camp. As long as they're playing golf, I mean, we're a betting podcast and cover golf. So as long as they're covering golf, we're going to cover it. I think every platform is. I think it's a very interesting aspect. As an F1 fan, as a European soccer fan, I think it really does have the aspect of being, or has the potential to be, something like that. When you have captains that have equity in their team, and as these move forward, I think it would be sweet to have less teams. Instead of 8, call it 48 players, call it 6 teams of 8, or something along those lines, where you have people trading, relegation, all of those things that could be, if there's more match play events within those teams, or things like that. I really do think that it could spark up golf. It's funny how, the last however many years, there's been so much just backlash against the PGA Tour broadcast. And now that there's something else, it's like PGA Tour. It's like they weren't doing everything right. There's the video. A lot of people. I would consider myself in the upper tier of golf fans and golf nerds that really love the game. I'm not watching golf on Thursday, Friday, unless it's a major, unless it's the Masters and I'm streaming it at work, etc. So I definitely think that there's a lot of things that Tour even can take from Liv, as far as camera angles, as far as some of the things they're doing and not doing. I know it's a little bit different that Liv doesn't have that, there's no advertisements, and that can obviously change the game. But in my opinion, when you have competition in any industry, it's good for both parties. So that's my live spiel. I will be covering most of the events, or helping TJ and helping DB and Pat cover most of these events moving forward. Obviously, I did watch that event in Boston. I think they're kind of, I wouldn't say they're getting better and better, but one of the other things that's really great is that there's no, they can do things, they can pivot, they can make decisions, they can adjust on the fly. And I think that's something that the PGA Tour, to get the players to wear shorts, that might take 5 years, or never. People can never agree on it. Live Golf did that after one round, So the idea that they can adapt and change on the fly to make things better, I think that's always great when you have a little bit more open. Just a little bit more flexibility, and so again, we'll see how it plays out. I think that it's gained a lot more traction than people anticipated, but again, we'll see. I still obviously am a huge fan of the PGA Tour, all the guys that play on the tour, but I also can see, you read Harold Varner's release after he joins LIV, and it's like, man, I grew up not having a lot of money. My kids are going to have generational wealth, playing golf. And it's cool to have a refreshing, honest thing. I'm in the camp of, along with everything else in life, until you really are in that position yourself, it's hard to have a real stance on it. So I am malleable. I am open, and I'm indifferent about the whole situation. So again, as long as it's happening, I'm going to cover the golf and focus on the golf, and not necessarily the politics that are involved in it. So yeah, this week we're in Chicago, Rich Harvest Farms, super private golf course. Jerry Rich, Jerry Rich, real estate owner, president, self-made businessman. It's about 50 miles west of Chicago. Not a lot of members. They actually have this super crazy like car museum on site. It's bizarre, but par 72, yeah, 70 par 72, 7,700 yards. So they can stretch this puppy out, 155 slope. So this thing is like, I'm learning all about slope, playing golf with a bunch of high handicappers and how that works and all that good jazz. But something like that, is, I've been reading a lot. They've had a lot of amateur stuff, Western Am, Palmer Cup, NCAA championships. They did have the Solheim Cup in 09. That was kind of their biggest event they've had. Everything that I'm reading and hearing from people that have played the golf course, member of the golf course, a lot of blind tee shots, a lot of precision. Hey, very similar to maybe some courses, not links golf, but where you're just trusting your caddy, you're trusting your yardage book, you're trusting your shots. It's a little bit more of like, all right, hit it here and just, believe that's the right line. So, historically, when I see those, I think of people that are ball strikers that can pinpoint here, and first people that come to mind, guys like Charles Howell, guys like, again, it's going to depend on how they set it up, what the weather is. I think they're going to have good weather the rest of the weekend. They're calling for, mid 80s and sunny. So hopefully the course will be nice and dry. It's not going to play wet and long. So that's what we're looking like for the golf course. Been everywhere, obviously, and that Rye being up in Chicago. So I'm excited to watch it. That's kind of my favorite kind of golf, is when, good, fast, bent, in my opinion, is the best, as far as golf goes. As far as betting wise, diving into it, I know the books are getting a little bit better at getting everything going and firing off some of these bets. Obviously, coming in the favorite this week is DJ, obviously coming off a big win. Cam Smith up there, Yako, Gooch, Louis, Abraham, Reed, kind of in your top tier. As far as outrights, guys that I like, guys that I think have a little bit of value. I like Lahiri. I like Anirban Lahiri coming off his second event. I think these guys that are new are definitely trying to come out with a bang and are a little bit not necessarily more passionate about the guys that have already kind of settled in. But you saw him losing in a playoff last week. FanDuel has him. Why are my odds messed up? Let's see. American odds. Yeah, 40-1. I like Lahiri at 41. He's my favorite outright guy this week. That has a little bit of value. I also like Charles Howell. I know I mentioned him earlier as far as ball striking. Maybe not to win, but if we look at a top 10 on FanDuel, we see Charles Howell at plus 200. I really like that. Obviously, it seems a little bit low from a PGA Tour standpoint, but you got to remember there's only 48 guys in the field, so top 10 is going to be a little bit easier. Other guys I like kind of going down the board, a little bit more long shot guys. I like Matt Jones. I think he hits it really well. I think he's, there's a lot of kind of these blind tee shots and stuff in Australia. I like him coming in at 80-1. I think there's a little bit of value there to get the job done and win. If we really go down the board, some of these guys that are a little bit lower down, Laurie Cantor, Englishman, I think, we're due for some of these guys on the board to have a good week and play well. Matchup wise, looks like they're still a little bit behind the game on it, but there is one matchup that I love. I know I mentioned Lahiri Westwood, basically even money, minus 110 on either side on DraftKings. I do like Lahiri beating Westwood this week. And the one that I really love, I like Neiman. I think Neiman's breaking through, obviously losing in a playoff to DJ. He's plus 115 for the tournament to beat DJ. Nothing against DJ. Obviously, he's a freak athlete, one of the best talents in the world. He doesn't really need to practice much to go out and win a golf tournament. I've talked to a lot of people that have coached him and been in his camp, and he's just one of those freak guys where he can be on a boat for 2 weeks and pick up a golf club and be a freak talent. So you never can look past DJ. That being said, I think there's good value in him not doing it, not going back to back and even kind of getting the job done after he's been knocking on the door. So I like him plus 115. Again, that's on DraftKings, so I do like that. Also like Cameron Tringale. Again, a new guy, second event. Him against Brent Wiesberger. That's another even money matchup that if you're going to take a matchup for the tournament, I like Tringale. Looking at the old, just the LIV Golf in the whole, there's actually been, Taylor Gooch. I don't know what he is to top 10, but he is top 10 in the first 3 events so far that he has played so far. So I do like Gooch. I don't like minus 140 to top 10, but I do like Harold Varner to top 10. He's plus 240 to finish in the top 10. I think that, again, on the ball strikers course, he's a ball striker. And he, again, is just excited to go play and he was actually up in my neck of the woods up in Boone playing in a tournament up at Diamond Creek. And so I had some caddies that were talking to him, and his game looks good and he's in the right place. So I like Harold coming in this week to top 10. I know I'm a little bit all over the board with who I like, and some of these, again, the books are still kind of gaining traction there. Yeah, Harold. Who else do I like that's on this list? If they're going to stretch it out, it's going to be really interesting to see what they do, how it stretches it out, how long the rough is. But if they do stretch it out closer to that 7,700 yards, I know in these first kind of couple events, we did see some hard golf courses. Wouldn't put it past Bryson, Matt Wolf, Bryson and Matt Wolf. I know Matt, it's hard for him to string together. It used to be hard for him to string together 4 rounds on the PGA Tour, and now he's got to string together 3. Obviously had a good kind of start last event in, last LIV Golf event and in Boston. So I think that there's value there. Again, it's interesting to see just how it will pan out as far as course setup. We don't really have a huge sample size to how it's been in the past, obviously being the first event. So there's a little bit of a crapshoot there. But I'm excited for the match play stuff. I know it's a little bit hard, or not match play, but the team event stuff. I know as that evolves, I think that could be a fun element of betting, what team's going to do this. It does seem like, the Goose Johnson Aces are kind of the Alabama right now, in LIV Golf. It seems like they're going to take it home. But as in my opinion, as they gain more traction, as they get more players, I think the Perez's and all of these people that are kind of hanging on the coattails of their top performing teams will get weeded out, and we'll see a little bit more of I know I mentioned earlier, if these captains, if they have equity in their team, they're going to be incentivized for to have a good team, to trade players, to pick up guys, to recruit, saying, hey, I do think that there's a little bit more of that going on than people think about. It's not just LIV and Greg Norman recruiting players. It can be more of the players on the tour. Hey, do that, come over here, come on my team. Even a guy like Brooks Koepka, who a lot of people criticize as, who cares? He just wants the bag. He doesn't want to care about golf anymore. If he's got equity, you can translate it to money. If he has equity in the game and in his team, and then he's going to want a good team. So there is definitely going to be a pull to get some of these guys again. And I think I think LIV Golf is split. I do think that there's half the guys that have a vendetta against the PGA Tour, as you can see by some of those lawsuits, etc. I think there's a lot of guys on LIV that have nothing against the tour. DJ's come out, hey, had a great time on tour, etc. I think there's a lot of guys that, again, have nothing against the tour. I think that kind of vendetta comes more from Greg Norman and LIV as a whole. But again, going back to, 833's comments and him joining, I don't think it's, hey, I hate the PGA Tour. It's just, hey, this is an opportunity that's going to be good for me and my family. And when we are not in that position to, get a bag, then it's hard for us to have a real opinion. I know if Liv contacts me and says, hey, you want to do a podcast every week for us, we'll give you a fat bag, then, it's going to be hard to say no. So again, that's my thoughts on Liv. I know it's been a little bit of a mix between a golf course preview, a couple little bets, and Rich Harvest Farms again. It'll be cool. I think it's always cool to see new golf courses that don't always get televised. Obviously, it's fun seeing Pebble, Augusta, the big ones every year. But again, as a golf fan, it's cool to see the best players, some of the best players in the world, play on new golf courses. See how they do on some of these courses that are well known, top 100 courses in the country that have not really seen the public eye. I think it could be good for just golf as a whole to get some more exposure to some of these new courses. So we'll see how it plays out. Again, Garrett Simmons here up in the mountains of North Carolina. I will be covering LIV and doing everything I can, maybe trying to get out to a couple events, still helping out with the PGA Tour. Again, this is not me being, jumping on Greg Norman's back. I still think he's a tool. But as long as LIV's still playing and there's professional golf and there's, the field that there are and people playing, then we're going to cover it. I'm going to cover it. I'm going to be excited about it. Golf, obviously it can be a little bit different to, one of the other big caveat is like, what are they playing for? And again, it's a new event. It's a new series. Sure, there's not this legacy thing, but in 5, 10, 15 years, everything has a beginning. Everything evolves over time. And I think as things evolved, as people, as leadership's willing to be flexible, as players give input, I think that, the more power that is in the whole people instead of just kind of one person is, and I know you could argue Greg Norman is just, the dictator, but I don't think that's the case. I think that there is a lot of feedback from the players on even just like what music are we going to play, all of this good jazz. And as far as that goes, I know we even touch on the music, and I know this kind of turned into a LIV rant, but I feel it's necessary, and I have my thoughts on it. I mean, I'm 28. I love the game, love to play, and I just got back from Scotland. I can appreciate walking, no music, having a caddy single carry, and playing the raw land. Back in the States, I also can appreciate blasting music, having a couple cocktails, gambling, driving a golf cart around. That's the golf now. That's what we do. That's what everyone does when they play golf in the States. And it's refreshing as a spectator. Again, I have not been to a LIV event, but it's refreshing as a spectator, to say, hey, okay, there's music playing. It's more of an event. It's more of like Phoenix Open-esque when you go to these events. And to be honest, back in my caddy days, I've caddied for a lot of these tour players at country clubs outside of a tour setting. They're doing all the same thing. They're drinking, they're having a couple cocktails, they're blasting music. That's how they want to play, when they're not playing on the tour. So it's refreshing for these guys to actually play for dough, play in competition, wear shorts, music's playing. And I think it actually is for a lot of these guys, especially the younger guys on LIV. It feels a lot more like them playing at home. They're a little bit more comfortable. They can be more of themselves. They don't have to be buttoned up, polished. And they can, and in my opinion, you're going to get a little bit more raw reactions, etc. I am not a big fan of, guys like Gooch saying it feels like a Ryder Cup. I'm in that camp of like, bullshit. It does feel like there's some forced things that they have to say or do that, to promote LIV. Hopefully that will change as it evolves and they can get, people can give more of their raw opinion, but we'll see. We'll see how it plays out. I'm open to it. Open to some competition in the golf landscape. I think we are overdue for it being shaken up. That being said, obviously real tight with a lot of players and caddies still in the Korn Ferry Tour, PGA Tour, all in support of what they're doing. And, again, nothing against the Rahms, the Schefflers, the JTs, the Spieths, the Rorys. I'm a big Rory guy, so nothing against them and what they want to do. But I also think that it can be a little bit unfair to just write all these guys off. Toby, I see in the chat. Again, the books are a little bit different, are definitely evolving. FanDuel, DraftKings, you can do all the outright stuff, outright top 5, top 10, top 20, top 5, top 10s, and a win this week. Matchup in 3 balls, that is shaking up a little. Again, I threw out a couple DraftKings ones. Looks like FanDuel has no matchups, but DraftKings does have a couple matchups, like 4 or 5, and it looks like about 6 or 7 matchups. Hopefully, again, I know I mentioned earlier, I'm excited to start betting on some team stuff, and seeing how that plays out. The broadcast, I think it's experimental. It does feel a little bit jumboed as far as the shotgun start goes. And I know I'm touching on everything. A live kind of all sporadic and spread out. I think that's I understand the shotgun start, mix it up with the players. They all, the same wave kind of thing. I think it would be cool if the last round wasn't a shotgun start, just because it does feel a little bit, you get to the end and it's chaos. You're like, what hole is this? 3 holes left. It says 3 holes left for 2 hours. So I think that maybe a last round tee times could be interesting. They're not going to be that spaced out. You don't have too much of a wave because there's only 48 guys. And so that's basically one wave within itself. So I don't think that I think that I am a fan of tee times. But we'll see. I feel like the broadcast is getting better and better. Obviously that playoff with DJ, they don't have much to play for, but it's still kind of exciting. I mean, you're watching Dustin Johnson and some of the other best players in the world in a 3-man playoff. Cam Smith hitting crazy shots, and still, you can see why he's still one of the best players in the world, no matter what kind of shorts or pants he's got on, and what tour he's playing on, what golf course he's playing on. So I'm excited to watch the event this week, and I will again excited to touch back in and kind of be back a part of the TJ fam a little bit more, and cover some of these more live events as they go. So that's all I got for now. Look forward to touching base next event or next time I'm on, helping with the PGA Tour. So see you, and yeah, go make some dough.